I used only banana peels. Here's what grew. Complete YouTube script. Part 1. The hook and setup. 0 and 0. 1.15. I threw away my expensive fertilizers and used nothing but banana peels for 30 days straight. What happened to my garden completely shocked me and honestly changed everything I thought I knew about growing plants. Some of my plants tripled in size, some produced fruit I never expected, and one plant did something so weird that I had to call my neighbor over just to make sure I wasn't seeing things. This all started because I was broke. Like seriously broke after spending way too much money on fancy plant foods that weren't even working. My garden looked terrible, my plants were barely surviving, and I was about to give up completely. I'd spent over $200 in just 3 months on different fertilizers, organic amendments, and special plant foods that promised incredible results, but delivered nothing but disappointment. Then I read this random comment on a gardening video about someone using only banana peels for an entire growing season, and I thought it sounded absolutely insane, but also kind of interesting. The person claimed they had the best harvest of their life, using nothing but kitchen scraps, and everyone in the comments was calling them a liar. But something about it made me curious enough to want to try it myself. So I decided to run a proper experiment with controls and everything. I split my garden right down the middle with string so I could keep track of which side was which. One side got all my expensive fertilizers and plant foods like normal, following the instructions on the bottles exactly. The other side got nothing but banana peels in different forms. No chemical fertilizers, no store-bought plant food, no supplements, absolutely nothing except banana peels that I would normally just throw in the trash without thinking twice. My family thought I was completely wasting my time, and that the banana peel side would completely die, while the fertilized side would thrive, and prove that expensive products work better. My husband made a bet with me that the banana peel plants would be dead within 2 weeks, and he was so confident that he bet me $50. Even I wasn't totally convinced this would work, but I was curious enough to try it and document everything that happened day by day. I started collecting every single banana peel from my house, which was actually a lot because we eat bananas almost every day for breakfast and my kids take them in their lunch boxes for school. Within the first week, I had collected over 20 banana peels, and they were starting to smell pretty bad, sitting in a container on my kitchen counter. My kitchen started smelling like a fruit stand dumpster, but I kept collecting them because I was committed to this experiment and wanted to see what would really happen. The first thing I did was chop up a bunch of banana peels into small pieces and bury them around my tomato plants on the experimental side of the garden. It felt really weird digging holes and stuffing rotten, smelly banana peels into the soil, while my neighbors probably watched from their windows wondering what on earth I was doing. But I did it anyway. On the other side, I gave the tomato plants their regular expensive liquid fertilizer that cost me $30 a bottle. Then I made this absolutely gross banana peel tea by soaking chopped up peels in a big jar of water for 2 weeks. It smelled absolutely terrible, like a garbage can that had been sitting in the hot sun for days, and it looked even worse. The water turned this nasty dark brown color, with bits of decomposed banana floating around in it, and my whole garage smelled like rotting fruit. My husband threatened to throw it away multiple times because the smell was so bad, but I strained it through cheesecloth and used it to water some of my plants on the banana peel side. I also tried something completely different with my pepper plants to see which method worked best. I dried out some banana peels in the sun until they were completely crispy and hard like chips. Then, I crushed them into this fine powder using a blender and mixed it directly into the soil. I had absolutely no idea if any of these different methods would actually work, but I was testing everything I could possibly think of to see what would happen with only banana peels as nutrition. Part 2. Week 1 and 2 Observations, 1:15-2:30. The first week was honestly pretty disappointing and made me think my husband was going to win his bet and I'd be out $50. Both sides of my garden looked pretty much exactly the same, and I started wondering if I was wasting my time with this whole banana peel experiment. The plants that got expensive fertilizer looked fine and healthy, and the plants that got banana peels also looked fine and healthy, but nothing special was happening on either side that would indicate any real difference. I was checking on both sides multiple times a day, measuring plants with a ruler, taking photos to compare, and basically obsessing over every tiny detail. My husband kept walking by and smirking at me, clearly thinking he was about to win our bet easily. I started second-guessing myself and wondering if I should just give up on the experiment and go back to using regular fertilizers like a normal person. But then something really interesting started happening in week 2 that caught my attention and made me think this experiment might actually lead somewhere exciting. The tomato plants on the banana peel side started showing these really thick, dark green stems that looked noticeably stronger and sturdier than the stems on the fertilized side. I measured them with a ruler just to make sure I wasn't imagining things or seeing what I wanted to see, and the banana peel tomatoes had stems that were actually thicker by almost a quarter inch. The leaves on the banana peel side also started looking different in a really good way that I couldn't ignore. They were darker green, way shinier like they'd been polished, and they felt thicker and more substantial when I touched them, like they had more body to them. Meanwhile, the fertilized side looked normal and healthy, but nothing special or remarkable. They were growing at a normal, expected rate, and looking like regular tomato plants that were doing okay, but not amazing or impressive. My pepper plants on the banana peel side started doing something really interesting that got me excited about the experiment again. New growth started appearing really fast, way faster than I'd ever seen with peppers before in all my years of gardening. Little shoots were popping up all over the place from the main stems, and the plants were getting bushy and full really quickly. The fertilized peppers were growing too, but at a much slower, more normal pace that I was used to seeing with regular fertilizer. The banana peel tea that I'd made seemed to work incredibly fast on whatever I watered with it, like some kind of magic potion. My cucumber plants got the banana tea treatment twice in week 2, and within just 4 days they had grown almost 6 inches in height. I took pictures with my phone and measured them because I couldn't believe how fast they were growing compared to the cucumbers on the fertilized side, which were growing at a normal, steady pace. Here's where things got really interesting, and made me pay even closer attention to what was happening in the soil. The soil on the banana peel side started looking completely different from the fertilized side in texture and color. It was darker, richer looking like chocolate cake, and when I dug into it with my bare hands, it felt softer and more crumbly in a good way. The fertilized side had normal-looking soil that was fine and acceptable but nothing special. I also noticed something amazing that really convinced me something special was happening. Earthworms were gathering like crazy on the banana peel side of the garden. I counted over 15 earthworms in just one small area where I'd buried banana peels, while the fertilized side had maybe 2 or 3 earthworms in the same size space. This told me that something really good was happening in the soil that was attracting these beneficial creatures that help plants grow. My basil plants were probably the most dramatic difference at this 2-week mark. The banana peel basil was already twice the size of the fertilized basil, with thick stems and huge leaves that smelled incredibly strong and fragrant. The fertilized basil looked healthy and normal, but nowhere near as impressive as the banana peel version, which was getting bushy and full way faster than I expected. Part 3, Week 3 and 4 Transformation, 2:30, 3:45. Week 3 is when things got absolutely crazy, and my husband had to admit he was going to lose his bet and owe me $50. The difference between the two sides of my garden became so obvious and dramatic that you could see it from across the yard without even getting close. The banana peel side looked like it was on some kind of plant steroids, while the fertilized side looked normal and healthy, but nothing compared to the explosive, incredible growth happening with just banana peels. My tomato plants on the banana peel side started producing flowers way earlier than they should have, according to everything I know about growing tomatoes. I counted over 30 flower clusters on just 3 plants, and they were big, healthy-looking bright yellow flowers that were already starting to turn into tiny green tomatoes. The fertilized tomatoes had maybe 10 flowers total, and they appeared a full week later than the banana peel side, which was really surprising. But here's what really blew my mind and made me realize this experiment was producing absolutely insane results that I never expected. The banana peel tomatoes started producing fruit that was noticeably bigger and healthier looking than the fertilized tomatoes. I'm talking about tomatoes that were almost twice the size at the same exact stage of growth. And the color was incredible and vibrant. Deep red with no blemishes, no spots, no problems, just perfect-looking tomatoes that looked like they came from a professional farm or a magazine photo. The pepper plants did something I've never seen in all my years of gardening, and I've been growing peppers for over 10 years. The banana peel peppers started producing these massive, huge peppers that were so big and heavy, they were literally bending the branches down toward the ground. I had to go buy stakes and tie up the branches because the plants couldn't support the weight of all the huge peppers they were growing. Meanwhile, the fertilized peppers were producing normal-sized peppers at a normal, expected rate. My cucumber plants on the banana peel side went absolutely insane and completely out of control in the best possible way. They started producing cucumbers faster than I could possibly pick them. I was harvesting fresh, crisp cucumbers every single morning. sometimes 5 or 6 at a time, and they just kept coming day after day. The vines were so long and healthy and vigorous that they started taking over other parts of the garden, and I had to redirect them. The fertilized cucumbers were producing okay, but nothing like the crazy, unbelievable production I was seeing from banana peels alone. Here's the weirdest and most unexpected thing that happened during week 4 that I still can't fully explain. My strawberry plants, which I'd given banana peel powder mixed into the soil, started producing strawberries in a season when they normally don't produce anything at all. Strawberries usually have very specific growing seasons and requirements, but these plants were suddenly covered in white flowers and small developing berries even though it wasn't the right time of year at all. I have no scientific explanation for why this happened, but it was absolutely amazing to see. The basil on the banana peel side had turned into these massive, impressive bushes that were over a foot tall and so thick and full that I couldn't even see through them to the soil underneath. I was cutting fresh basil every single week to make pesto and caprese salad, and the plants just kept growing back even thicker and fuller than before. The fertilized basil looked sad and small and pathetic in comparison, even though it was getting expensive plant food on a regular schedule. By the end of week 4, the visual difference was so dramatic and obvious that my neighbors started coming over and asking me what I was doing differently on one side of my garden compared to the other. When I told them it was just banana peels, they didn't believe me at first. Some of them thought I was lying and using some kind of secret professional fertilizer that I wasn't telling them about, because they didn't want to believe that something so simple and free could work so well. Part 4. Final Results and Breakdown. 3:45:5. The final results after 30 days completely changed how I think about fertilizing plants forever, and made me question why I'd been spending so much money all these years. The banana peel side of my garden outperformed the expensive fertilizer side in almost every single way you can measure. The plants were bigger, healthier, more productive, more resistant to problems, and they cost me absolutely nothing except the time it took to collect and prepare the banana peels. Let me break down the actual numbers because they're honestly shocking and almost hard to believe. The banana peel tomatoes produced 42 beautiful, perfect tomatoes from 3 plants in 30 days. The fertilized tomatoes produced only 18 tomatoes from 3 identical plants in the same exact time period, with the same weather conditions. That's more than double the production from just using banana peels that I would have normally thrown away without thinking twice. The banana peel peppers gave me 53 gorgeous peppers total, and they averaged about 30% bigger in size than the fertilized peppers. The weight difference was incredible when I put them on my kitchen scale. The banana peel peppers weighed almost twice as much as the fertilized ones. And the taste was noticeably better too, sweeter and more flavorful. My family did a blind taste test where they didn't know which was which, and everyone unanimously preferred the banana peel vegetables. My cucumber production was absolutely insane on the banana peel side, like something you'd see in a commercial greenhouse. I harvested over 70 fresh, crispy cucumbers in 30 days from just 2 plants. The fertilized side gave me maybe 20 cucumbers from 2 identical plants. That's more than 3 times the production using nothing but free banana peels instead of expensive fertilizer that cost me a fortune. But here's what really matters beyond just the impressive numbers and harvest totals. The banana peel plants looked healthier overall in ways that are hard to measure but easy to see. They had thicker stems that could support more weight, darker green leaves that looked vibrant and full of life, better root development when I carefully dug around to check, and they seemed significantly more resistant to pests and diseases. I had 0 pest problems on the banana peel side, while the fertilized side had some aphids and a few other annoying issues that I had to spend time dealing with. The soil quality difference after just 30 days was dramatic and really obvious. The banana peel soil was rich, dark, full of earthworms and other beneficial organisms, and it smelled like healthy earth and forest floor. The fertilized soil looked okay, but it was harder and more compact, lighter colored, and had way fewer earthworms and beneficial insects. This tells me that banana peels were feeding the entire soil ecosystem in a way that chemical fertilizers just don't do. Now here's the cost breakdown that really shows why this experiment matters so much. I spent exactly $0 on the banana peel side because I was using trash that I would have thrown away anyway. The fertilized side cost me about $65 in various fertilizers and plant foods over the 30-day period. The banana peel side produced more than double the harvest at literally 0 cost, which is mind-blowing when you think about it. So what did I learn from this crazy experiment? Banana peels are seriously underrated and might actually be better than expensive fertilizers for most home gardens. They feed the soil, not just the plants, which creates a healthier ecosystem that produces better results over time. They're completely free, they're natural, they reduce waste, and they work incredibly well if you use them consistently. I'm never going back to buying expensive fertilizers for my garden ever again. From now on, I'm saving every banana peel and using them in different ways throughout my garden. This one experiment saved me money and gave me the best harvest I've ever had. If you're spending a lot on plant food and not getting great results, try banana peels for 30 days and see what happens. You might be as shocked as I was by the incredible results.